Hi there, I'm Steve Flower from Audient, and I'm going to introduce you to the new Zen mixing console. The idea of the console is to help you integrate your outboard equipment with your digital audio workstation. The console provides has automation capabilities on the faders and mutes, and has a lot of analog interfacing to get your signals in out to outboard units and to connect up to your sequencer. So to give you a quick rundown of the channel strip, each channel has two inputs, or three inputs if you have the mic free option. The two main inputs are channel and DAW. Channel is your record input really, so from either a mic or a line source. The DAW input is your return signal from your digital audio workstation. Each channel also has a direct output, independently switchable to pick the signal from various points in the channel strip. So post-fade, pre-fade, pre-insert, and alternatively permanently taking the channel input, so the mic line input, so the record signal can come straight into the console, be fed back out the direct output into your workstation. Then you can monitor the return path from your workstation by using the DAW input coming through onto the fader. So it's kind of like an inline architecture, and you can then switch between the input signal from the source and then the input from your workstation very quickly using the switch here. You have a plus or minus 15 dB trim before it passes on to the rest of the channel strip. The console has two mono subgroups and two stereo subgroups, as well as the main stereo mix bus. You do the bus assigns for the channels using the switches just here. So the mono 1, mono 2, stereo 1, stereo 2, and the mix bus. Each channel has a stereo Q send. There are actually two Q buses available, A and B, and so you've got your associated level and pan controls available here. The console also has four aux sends, four mono aux sends, so it's aux 1 and with the shift key 3, and 2 and 4. As I say, the console has automated cuts and faders. The automation is controlled using HUI, so any workstation that can handle HUI and fix the position of the faders can link up with Zen, and that way you have the interface, the familiar interface from your workstation for automation, able to control Zen. One very handy little feature in the Q section allows you to pick up the alternative input and bring it into the Q section. So if you're monitoring the DAW input on the channel fader, you can then bring in the channel line, mic line input into the Q section and route that to any of the stereo buses. So that will probably be useful for bringing in some effects returns or any inputs that don't need a lot of outboard processing once they're out of your digital audio workstation. So that's the overview of the input section. The Zen also has a very comprehensive master section. I'll start with the subgroups. Two mono and two stereo subgroups. The mono subgroups can be routed to any of the stereo buses, so stereo 1, 2, and then the main mix bus. Each of the subgroups has an insert point and also a sum button. The sum button makes it easy to do parallel compression by summing the insert send and return signals, and then using the output control of your compressor you can balance the ratio of compressed and uncompressed signals. We've taken that a step further on the bus compressor, which is by default on the master mix bus. And you've actually got a wet-dry compression control there. You'll normally find it on a reverb, but here we've got it on the compressor to make parallel compression really easy. You can also press the external button. The compressor then becomes available on jacks on the back of the console. It can be patched across anywhere else in the studio, or like subgroups, for example. Moving on, you can see here that we've got a small transport section giving you fast forward, rewind, stop, play and record functionality, a global on-off automation switch as well. The monitoring section is pretty comprehensive. You've got up to 3 monitor outputs available. You have a programmable dim level control, so you can set your own dim level. You can also calibrate your system to have a reference output level, so calibrate your room to a set dB SPL, for example, and by hitting the in button you then bypass the main volume pot. You have left and right cut buttons, a mono button and a non-latching phase switch. You also then can select to monitor a number of stereo input sources, including a mini jack input. The Q master section here allows you to route the digital audio various stereo inputs. We've got a couple labelled up here as DAW mix and DAW foldback, so you can actually create a couple of extra foldback mixes within your workstation and bring them in here as well. You can solo those cues as well. Your 4 aux masters here, again you can solo those to audition them. You've got a headphone output on the front of the console under the armrest with level control here. And a talkback. You've got an internal microphone here, or on the front panel, again just under the armrest there's an XLR which you can use. Solo functionality is pretty comprehensive. You can get AFL, PFL, solo in place and also solo in front. And that's kind of a summary of Zen. One more thing, it has an optional digital output option for the master, the main mix bus, which with external word clock can go up to 192 kilohertz. So that's a quick overview of Zen, and hopefully it'll show that it's a good way of bringing together your analog and digital areas in the studio in a nice, elegant and compact box.